Okay. Yeah. Ooh, I forgot my lecture note. Did I already put it in here? I might have already put it in here. Did I put it in here? Okay. All my stuff. Blueprints thinking. All right, guys. I am not gonna make you stop working on what you're working on. You're more than welcome to work on what you want to right now. I can tell you though that this stuff though, as we get more technical, especially, you're gonna wish you had the opportunity to ask questions while I was recording. So I don't know, piece of advice, maybe try to hang out, but if you want to work on your assignment, you can do that. Wonderful. Okay, so I put together a brief sort of overview of there we go of blueprints. Now that we've dabbled a bit, was anybody struggling getting their AI follow agent to work? It's everybody. I think you guys got it. I did notice a couple of bugs occur. I want to say about 3 people had the same problem, where we were accidentally assigning, I think, your your character controllers that you tested. That's okay. Set to index 0, and then that was confusing your AI component. That happened to like 3 people. This is the first time that's ever happened in this class, and I want to say it's because we did the AI mechanic after we did the character controller. Because in the past, I did it the other way around, and I'd never seen that error before. It was really interesting. So thank you for teaching me something, guys. But if you had that bug, that was actually a common mistake. A few people had just brought in their character, their third-person character AI, and it had the same index assigned as one of the other controllers, and it wasn't working, and everything broke on the back end. Okay, now blueprints. Are we still a little nervous about blueprints? Are we feeling a little better about what this thing is? Maybe? As I know for some folks, just the mention of it was a little tense. And for others who are really excited. And I think there's most of you guys fall in a bell curve in between. All right. All right, so today we're just going to do a real brief what it is and just enforce kind of what we've covered so far. They are a tool of a visual scripter that allows us to do code without having to write it, basically, right? The logic trees and the functions are effectively the same. And for what it's worth, Unreal likes to let you tell people that what you're doing is coding in C++. But I think if anybody here knows anyone who codes in C++, you know that that's not true. And I'd say that coding in C++ is considerably a more difficult skill that takes several years to get savvy at. For those of you that are interested in games programming, you may want to actually consider studying up on C++. Most engine requires you to know it, even though Unreal uses blueprints. Yes, I know, but if you ever need to go into a back end, which is usually what programmers do, especially in a tool like this, you will need to know C++. So it's really important that you understand what we're not really doing is games programming, though we are programming and we're doing it in games. There's kind of a difference there. I know, right? Sounds kind of the same. Okay, now, thinking of blueprints as if-then statements is something that will be more effective for us in how we start to solve problems. What I'm noticing is that as I'm showing you how to make these really simple tools, curiosity starts to bubble up. That is a good thing. Good news. The downside is that most of your questions have answers far bigger than you realize that are unlikely to be scoped for a project like this. However, sometimes we can take that idea and whittle it down to something a little smaller that inches you closer and starts to let you bring up those questions in a way that's not entirely overwhelming, right? So what I wanted to do today is share with you a little bit about how to think about blueprints instead of just do what I do, right? And don't worry, you're gonna have the monkey see, monkey do experience for everything that's required for your assignment. But for those of you that have that follow-up question, like, can I make my 3D model do a thing? Or can I make my tyrant pace when she's not following me? Or can I pick up coins and have some sort of like system? Yes, so the answer is yes, but they're usually bigger than you realize. So let's talk about like thinking with blueprints for just a moment. Okay. Um, blueprint thinking. Every blueprint node falls into one of these three buckets or has a role, has a specific role. Now, some documentation will tell you, oh, all blueprints answer these three questions. But honestly, I've seen blueprints just exist as a 3D model and like, that's a blueprint. In fact, we're going to make one of those. So that's not technically true. But I would say that every blueprint node definitely falls into one of these three events or one of these three buckets, right? The event, as in what happens, uh, who it involves or what does it involve, that's usually the actor, right? And what should happen next. So those are like the three things that almost every node is speaking to in some way. So let's look at our AI follow blueprint for just a moment. Let me see if I can actually zoom into this. Now, if we're going to look at these nodes and we're going to try to assign a role to each one of them, what would they be, right? Well, the first one here. Whew, sorry. What happens, or when does it happen? That's right here on begin play, at the start. At the start. The start is the inciting incident, right? Who does it involve? In this case, I think we could say probably the character, the player character, and the actor itself, right? The AI follow guy, right? Yeah. And what does it do next? It follows, and then delays, and then tries to check again. It's basically those three things. It's also almost in that order exactly. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this up. Yeah, that's this guy right here. I'm going to invite you to follow along with this because I'm going to show you a quick little feature skill that's going to be nice. But let's identify the incident, right? The event. The event. What happens? Okay. These two right here. The game starts. That's what happens. It feels a little abstract because sometimes blueprints will actually require a condition to happen for that to be the case. But in this case, the condition is the game started. We turned it on and we hit play. So this is what's happening right here. This is the event. So I'm gonna select these two nodes and I'm gonna hit C for comment, and I'm gonna call this the event. All right. For this next bit, let's talk about who or what is involved. Now, I did just kind of share those answers, but I'll ask you guys, what nodes are referencing who or what is involved? Yeah, Brenda? Get player character? I like it. What else? What else? Yes, Tyler? Self. Very good. Okay, so these two here, select them. I'm going to hit C. Who, what, or we'll call it actor. Now I'm going to just move this guy over here. Oh, that's nice. When I move the comment box, everything inside also scooches over. That's very nice. I like that. All right, so is it safe to say what happens next is the AI moves, there's a delay, and then it checks again? Is that fair to say? Mm-hmm. What happens next? Oh my goodness. Renee, I'm going to learn to spell eventually. No, I won't. It's too late for me, but you guys can spell things, right? Okay. The action. This right here. Pretty cool, right? Now, when I'm organizing my blueprints, I don't usually organize them in those explicit 3 buckets per se for whole systems. But something I kind of wanted to show you though, is that does this start to look like anything we might have done earlier in this quarter? Where we started to diagram systems that lived within other systems? Right. This is where that high level thinking starts to help us in a big way, right? We had a question before. I'm just going to pose it to you guys, right? If I wanted my AI actor to do something while she's not looking at me, where do you suppose we would do that here in the system? At the start of play, these are who it affects. Do this next. Where, where would we go from there? It's okay if we're just brainstorming, guys. This is kind of the like pencil sketch stage of pseudocoding. Yeah, Oscar? Oh, on success or fail. Okay. So right now, at the start, it goes right into follow with these 2 people, right? So right now, if I do anything after that, I just continue to follow. Does that make sense? Oh, I think it would be between the 2. Yeah. So I'm thinking now what we're talking about, we have start play, decide an if-then statement right here. If true, follow. If not, do something else, right? Does that make some sense? Okay, great. No, don't worry, guys. I'm not going to make you do that right now. In fact, many of you don't care about that feature, so I'm not going to require it of you. But that's sort of the exercise that we're going to start asking ourselves these questions. What happens? Who does it involve? And what do I want to happen next because of it? Right? Okay. Lovely. Great job, guys. We did that little exercise. Very cool. Okay. Now, I've upped the ante a little bit. Nah, just do the show. Yeah. All right. Let's apply it to our AI. Oh, this is not, yeah, this is the AI. All right. Blueprint thinking. I've created, or well, you've got the visuals for it already. We're going to create a destroy actor blueprint example. We're going to do that next. This is where, we're going to have something occur. And when that thing occurs, we're going to destroy it. We're going to destroy an actor. That sounds fun. Yeah. Okay. Now, so we want to think about like how these things affect each other. So a player enters a trigger point is the event, right? We have a collision collider sort of volume check, right? Then it detects if there's an overlap, and then we destroy the actor. Boom, boom, boom. Okay. That's this guy. Yeah. Okay. So let's take a look at this. Just looking at it now, guys. What do you suppose which nodes go into what bucket, right? It's a little light in here. Maybe this will help. Is that better? Cool. So that first node says event actor begin overlap. Would you say that that's the inciting incident when it begins an overlap? Okay, cool. Who does it involve? What's the trigger? Who does it involve? What actors are involved? Yeah, Isabella. The player, get player character. That's right. And then what happens? Destroy actor. It's pretty straightforward, right? And then it goes poof. Just disappears. You can make it play like an explosion animation or something if you want, but we don't need to do that. That's a little explicit. So, all right. Okay. Now let's make it. You have to make stuff if you want them to exist. Someone famous, probably. I don't know. Okay. So, so let's get in here. Now, we're going to make that blueprint now, but hopefully now just a little bit more context. One, we're not as scared of like placing nodes and connecting wires. We kind of know how that feels like. And two, now we've got this like zoomed out idea of the way these kind of compartmentalize into their sections, right? And then next, I'd like to share with you some more materials that I've put together for us, and that'll be the Blueprints glossary. Do not worry, there is no quiz, but it's a very helpful reference to just kind of the definitions of what we're talking about, right? I'll say that the logic, that's the fun part. That's the puzzly part. That's like, well, when this thing happens, I want that to happen. And if that fails, I want something else to happen. And we can kind of map out this like cool sequence of events that are occurring. And we can talk about that in a conversation pretty easily. Well, easierly, I would say. Maybe not totally easily. um, but where it starts to fall apart, though, is our mental library of what node to use when and where. And that part can be utterly devastating to our progress in the sense that, like, well, I don't know what node to do. So now what do I do? Google. Google away. Google away. There is so much documentation that the search engines at this point really don't steer you too far off course. They're mostly, I'd say like 80% accurate. So they'll get you on track if you're a little unsure about what node to use. So if you're finding that like, I don't know what to do, that's okay. This is searchable, it's Googleable, and if you want something to happen, we can find the answers. Okay, now, nodes. These are examples of nodes. They are the boxy, colorful things. Some of us got a little confused and believed that the nodes were actually the wire input and output connections. No, those are not the nodes. Nodes have them, not all of them in the same direction. Okay. Some more stuff here, but the one I want to focus on, because I believe we understand what an event is at this point. It's something that starts the blueprint's execution. In our context, it's basically hitting start when we play the game. And we know what actors are in theory. They can be kind of anything. They could be a door, a cube, or another system. Something that you bring in or something that you destroy in your level. It really can be almost anything. Now, self, we've referenced that. We understand that we're usually referring to whichever system in and of itself, right? In the case of our blueprint, AI blueprint actor. But variable is where it gets a little shady for some of you. I have seen the context of what a variable is break down in real time. So I want to spend a little bit more time on this. Now, I certainly don't want to scare you or give you any anxiety around math, because a word like variable sort of brings up 8th grade for me, and it's not healthy. I agree. But can anybody tell me the difference between a variable and a constant? Yeah, Brenda? Yeah, yeah, a variable changes depending on certain factors and a constant doesn't change. Very good. In our context, why we would bother to use this is that we think of variables as sort of like containers. You can kind of treat them as categories, and there's more, but for now, I have a real world example on here, right? A variable is not pizza. Pizza is constant. What? I know, that's better than numbers. Pizza is constant. It is always pizza. Pizza cannot be burger. That's, well, okay, I know some of you are already asking the philosophical question, but can it be? And that is for a philosophical conversation later, okay? We will talk the questions of the universe some other time, but for now, we'll just say that a burger cannot be pizza and pizza cannot be burger. They are different things. But you know what can change is favorite food, the container. Favorite food can be burger. Favorite food can be pizza. Favorite food can be tacos from La Chingona Taco Truck on 148th Street. Thank me later. Okay? Yeah, they can, that can change. So favorite food, variable. Pizza, constant. Burger, constant. Right. So when we make blueprints and we make variables, we're making containers. And I've seen sometimes people making variables and calling it door. Door is constant. But object I will spawn in scene, variable. Make sense? Cool? Okay, wonderful. I hope nobody's stomach dropped out too far on that one. All right. Okay. Now, the execution wire is one more big one that I want to chat about briefly, and then we're going to dive in to make it. The execution wire. This is the white wire that controls the order in which actions occur in the blueprint. Now, when you want something to happen, the order in which it falls in that execution line is kind of important, right? We want the check before she follows me, not after. Oops, daisy. But, you know, you see, it's a little execution line. You could think of it as that line that you drew when you were making your very first diagram of your game. Setup. Player 1 goes. Player 2 goes. There's a win condition in the end. Because most of your diagrams look like that. Very good. Okay. All right. Okay, so the data wires are the other wires that connect. And this is the one that makes you totally that guy at parties, where we talk about the different types of data. Now, I spoke of that, I think, very briefly when we made our material thing, where I was like, numbers, vector 3s and 1s, and they're constants, and they change the value of the things. Well, the kind of data a number is called an integer. An integer. That sounds nerdy as hell, doesn't it? Yes. But there's a difference between, let's say, a string of numbers and an integer. Can anybody guess what that might be? Like, I have a string that says 1 + 1 versus integers. What do you think might be happening? Yeah. Right. Very good. Integers are just numbers, but I can do math with numbers. I can assign a value to that number, right? 1 is a value that is less than 2. And that has meaning. That's what integers are. But a string of numbers is just the characters with no other value to it. So it's kind of an important distinction. Can anybody think of a reason why we would want numbers in a string that have nothing to do with doing math in this context like this? Yeah? Yeah, explaining a score, printing the string of it, or I don't know, usernames, if people want to punch in their username. Or you decided you have a feature that you'd like to let somebody have a description, and the description might need to include numbers. Perfect. All right, wonderful. Okay, actor references are like their own sort of type of data. You've got like words with characters, and you've got numbers that are integers. Actor references are very specific to Unreal. Like, I want to call a blueprint actor versus I want to destroy an actor inside the level. They operate a little differently, and where Unreal goes to them. So we have to tell it what kind it is. You don't have to memorize that. And don't worry, this will make more sense when we make a couple of blueprints that use these. Boolean. Does anybody know what a Boolean is? Yes. So Turner, sorry, Taylor. Yeah.
Booleans in coding are basically just an on and off switch.
On and off switch.
Something is either one value is either true or it is false.
Yeah.
Or it's on and off, depending on.
Yeah. True or false. Was that what you're gonna say, Tyler? Yeah. All right. Correct. Technically, a Boolean is a 1 or a 0, but we don't need to go quite that nerdy about it, right? So a Boolean can happen. You'll see this all the time. It'll happen in branch statements like, if this is true, do this. If this is not, do that. And sometimes we need to set a value of, if it's true, click true, and there's a little checkbox. That's a Boolean that we'll be using later. Pretty cool, right? All right. Now, I know that was dry as hell, and I appreciate your attention. That's hard to do, especially when the lights are low. We could be taking a nap. So I appreciate you. So let's put all of this into some practice now. Or what we're going to do. Compile and save. Thank you. Thank you. Is we're going to create a destroy actor blueprint. Okay. Now, I believe I have the visuals here under my follow AI and triggers. Now, I consider the destroy actor blueprint, a kind of trigger in that we have to walk into some sort of trigger box volume to tell it to go away. This would be like if you're going to make a coin and when you touch the coin, it goes away. We could do that. We can make a coin. Okay. Oh, and you know what? I also have the visual right here. This guy right here. So I'll leave this one up. I think it's just a little bit friendlier to see. Now, what we're going to do first is we're going to create that blueprint class. So just go ahead and click blueprint class. We're going to click actor, right? And we're going to call it BP underscore destroy actor. And I'll give that a moment to let you guys kind of build that out. If anybody missed that because I was too fast, right click, blueprint class actor. Just click that one right there. Okay? Okay. I'm gonna make my tyrant go away. No, tyrant. Boo. Okay. All right. Okay. We're gonna head over to our event graph, place where it all begins. And from the, I want to say begin overlap, because this is where we tell it that like it doesn't just disappear or destroy an actor when we hit play, but rather when something overlaps with this, right? Right. That was the what is the event, right? And the event is in this case a collision situation. All right. All right. Now we want to get the player character, right? Because we only want it to overlap with our player, not with anything else. However, maybe some of you would like to destroy stuff with other stuff that you make move. So in which case we wouldn't use get player character. In this case, we'd say get this particular actor. In that case, that's fine. Ooh, yes. That'd be pretty cool. But anyway, let's get the get player character. Get player character. Ha. Branch. And this guy, please be the condition. Oh no, that won't be the condition. Oh, I always forget. Okay. Equal. That's it. We want you and you to be the thing that overlap. And when that is true, do something. All right. All right. I'll just let it hover over there for a moment and let you guys catch up. Oh gosh, that's so hard to see, man. That's annoying how hard that is to see. What it's not doing a very good job is showing you these highlights right here. Yeah, those are there. You couldn't see those at all back here. My gosh, I'm sorry. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That one to that, that one to that, and then that one to that. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. Anybody else struggle busting a little bit? I can try to do it. Yeah, you got it. You got it. All right. Yeah, yeah. Oh, you're so close. Right. So get player character goes in a meh. Other actor goes in a meh. And then that memo goes in the condition. Yeah. Oh, we're so close. Get the equal sign. Equal. Yeah, right click and then type in equal. Yeah, that one. And then that goes in there. That goes in there. And that goes into there. Yes. Yay. Almost. Almost. Yes. Okay. Ta-da. You did it. Okay. Yeah. Oh no, actor. Actor. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. All right, you got almost there. We're gonna want the branch and equal. Equal is the other one. Okay. This guy, this one looks the funkiest because it doesn't have like a title on it. So what you're looking for is equal. This one right here under operators. I think you can even type in equal, like the equal sign, and that'll do it too, for those of us that are shorthand. Okay. All right. Now, when it's true that the player character and this actor that will have a collision on it, what happens next? Destroy. We burn it all down. Or in this case, we destroy actor. Okay. So from the true statement, we'll look up destroy actor. That's cool. Hey. Okay. Now, if you wanted the actor to be itself, this is where you can just leave it alone. For example, maybe you put in a little coin mesh in this system, and then when you touch it, it'll destroy itself. That works. But let's give this a little bit more function. Like maybe I want to destroy something from far away, or I would like to destroy, I'd like to be able to destroy anything in the world that's my level, right? So we can play with this a little bit. Thing is though, is that right now this is set to self, and I need to be able to tell it what to destroy. So what do you suppose is the container that I should put here? Anybody have an idea? Oh, I used that word earlier. A variable? We're gonna put a variable in. We're gonna make that variable. We're gonna tell it what we want it to be. Now, I'm not gonna tell it that I want it to be my favorite food, and then I'm just gonna destroy pizzas and burgers. But I do want it to have a container of a meaning, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come over here where it says variables. We're gonna create one. It doesn't exist right now, right? So let me look up here, actor to destroy. Doesn't exist, right? Destroy me. Destroy your mom. I'm kidding. All right. My point is this can be anything we want, and so far it doesn't exist. But if I go to variables and I hit this little plus sign right here, we're going to call this actor to destroy. Now, what you can technically do here is name it anything you want. Good practice usually means that we're naming it something short, like destroy target or destroy actor, something short and sweet, not too explaining. I won't tell you to not do that right now as you're kind of feeling out how these talk to each other. But just like so you know, actor to destroy is a little wordy. You might say destroy target, right? Or target actor or whatever. It's fine. Now, right now it's set to Boolean. Is that correct? That's not right. It's just going to be like true or false. That thing doesn't even functionally make sense. And if you notice, if I look over here, this like data wire here is blue and that is red. So if I even like tried to like bring this over here and then plug it in, it's going to be like, dude, what are you doing? Like, I can't destroy a Boolean. You're silly goose. So you're right. You're right, Unreal. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to tell it to destroy an actor type. So the thing is that there's a lot of so many variable types in here. This is the part that I was telling you gets really overwhelming. I don't know what most of those are, and I don't care. I only care when they matter to me. So in the interest of saving time and keeping you from like freaking out going through all of this, we're just going to type out actor. And where it says actor, we're going to go to object reference. That's all we want. We want it to be an object reference. The object type is an actor, right? That's it. Now, I'm going to bring that right over here. And I'm going to click and drag it over here. I'm going to say get destroy, actor to destroy. And that is now going to be the thing we destroy. So I'm going to go ahead and save and compile. And if I bring in my blueprint actor right on into the world, a couple things. First off, it's not done. I'm going to tell you right now, it won't work if I tried. But if I have it selected and I come over here, I would like to tell it what actor I want to destroy. So let's go to actor to destroy. It's not here. Renee, we made the variable and it's there. Like, why? Okay, this is so annoying. And I want to apologize that it's this annoying. But right next to destroy actor is this little eyelash that you don't know is an eyeball until you click it. And now it's on. It's an eye now. So for those of us that know anything about computer programming, we made it public. It was private, it's now public. For those of us that are like eyeball and eyelash, now you can see it because before you couldn't. Is this an artist's engine or what? Like, yeah. Okay. So now that I've made it public, I'm gonna go ahead and compile and save it now. And oh, there she is. Oh, there she is. And because we chose actor object reference, it's going to have a list of all the actors that are currently in my level that I can choose to destroy when I collide with this little trigger box. Pretty cool, right? Okay, yeah, I'm sorry. I got this like Zoom thing happening here. We don't care about that. We don't care about any of that. Yeah. Hey, look, I could destroy a cube. I could destroy this cube. I could destroy something. Now, how's about I just bring in an object. I'm going to call this. So here's the thing too. Whenever you're starting to do stuff like this, you probably want to name them something that you will actually remember. Because if you're anything like me, I've got cube 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I've got 200 cubes in here, and that sucks. So since I want to destroy this particular sphere, I'm going to get it a proper name instead of just sphere. So I'm going to just like right click. I want to rename. I'm looking for rename. Edit, rename. F2 is the hotkey, by the way. So if you don't want to search for it, we can just hit F2. And I'm going to call it the giant sphere of doom. And that's going to be the thing that I destroy. Cool? All right. So come back over here to my little blueprint that I made. Little blueprint. I'm going to come over here. I'm going to put doom. There's my giant sphere of doom. Make it big and ominous and freaky, a little backroomsy, kind of weird, you know? Now, save that. Do you think it'll work now, guys? No. Why not, Oscar? I see you. Confident. I have to run into something.
Yeah.
You're right. Yeah, I never really told it that there should be a volume here that we run into. Okay, very good. Nice job, dude. Okay, we're gonna add collision. So over here was his components. Let's go ahead and add collision. C-O-L-L. Sorry, my bad. Add. This is the one I want to search. I put C-O-L-L because I switched from Unity to Unreal a lot. Like I had a Unity contract, I was teaching Unreal and the colliders and collision, and I don't know which one. But if I type in C-O-L-L, I don't have to worry about it. It'll bring up the thing I need. So let's go to collision, and I'm gonna do a box collision, right? And I'm gonna call this trigger box collision. You don't need to call it collision, you just call it trigger box, you call it trigger, you can call it your mom's a trigger. Like you can call it whatever you want, really, as long as you know that this is the thing that we're trying to walk through. Now, if I hit save and compile, oh, look, she has a little box over her. That's kind of cool. Yay. I'm going to make this bigger, but this isn't a great habit to get into. I'm going to say right now, this shouldn't actually hurt it at all because these transform values that I changed aren't going to affect anything else other than its collider. However, when we start using spawn in, it'll spawn in the value that we told it to be. So that means if I have it spawn in a trigger that size, it's going to bring it in a wham. And so that's like not a great habit to just get into here and start rescaling it. But I'll tell you right now, if you do right now, it won't hurt anything. This will be okay in that case. But let's not do that habit. So let me show you the good habit because we want to be good at this, right? So if you go to the trigger box collider on the details tab, this is where we can actually scale just that component and move that to where we want it to be. So I'm gonna make this big enough that when my player character walks through it, I won't miss it. So that's all I'm going to do here. I'm just going to make it bigger. So I should be able to, I shouldn't miss this at all if I walk through it. All right, I'm going to hit play and boom, poof, gone. Let's try one more time. All right, Goodbye, Sphere of Doom. Not my problem no more. Pretty good, right? All right. Okay. I am going to give you, let's say like 10 minutes for sure, probably more, to play with this new toy. For those of you that maybe we started and you missed a step and I can catch you up now. For those of you that need help because something was breaking and you're pretty sure you did it just like I said and it still didn't work, I'll come and help you, right? In the meantime, let's just play. See if you can destroy some stuff. Make little coins that disappear or whatever. All right. All right, y'all. If some of you are getting errors when you test it, that's actually pretty normal. What we didn't do is do a little bit of a cleanup on the end of our logic. Because we're really just getting it functioning, and you're noticing that it's working. But it's also throwing up errors like it's trying to reference something that's not in the level anymore, and it is giving you all this nasty red stuff at the end. If that's you, okay. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna just drag off the execution wire off of this, and we're gonna do another destroy actor. But we're going to leave it alone because its target is now self. Meaning, once I cross that collider, it's going to destroy the actor I want it to destroy and then die. And then it will be destroyed. So it won't be in your level anymore, throwing up any null reference errors. So yeah. It's a little cleanup step that I didn't do before, but now you've got it. And that will probably solve most of your guys' errors. If you have another compiler error or another error in the your debug log after you're done, we'll take a look at it and see if we can fix it.